World of Darkness is one of those games that doesn't really have like a strong sense of class archetype or even like group archetypes that you're fulfilling. There's not your fighter, your wizard, your thief. In this game, it's just you're picking a character you want to play. If we had to deal with actual team composition for World of Darkness, then Salubri would be in every single vampire game since they are one of the only few routes to do healing. Who knows, maybe that's why they became a full clan in 5th edition. But if you were trying to, say, play a cleric or a paladin in Mage the Ascension, you'd pick Celestial Chorus. Slight obtuse way to get into the point, but today we're talking about the religious mages, the Celestial Chorus. Their entire methodology of magic is around religion, and specifically, they really exalt the One. Now, who is the One? Well, it's God, like capital G God. Does that mean it's the Christian God? Yes and no, because the Celestial Chorus is seen as very Christian, because that's their history. Their history is predominantly Christian, but that's not to say it's not all that, because Abrahamic faiths are in there and even some polytheistic faiths, because the main important thing you got to deal with is the One. The One is some form of God being, the creator of everything, and inside of all of us is that spark of the divine. The One left its mark on every single person. That is your avatar. So the goal is pretty simple. You ascend by getting closer to the One, and also you help guide sleepers out of that state so they can awaken. The One is portrayed in a couple different ways, and I prefer one of them. The one I don't prefer is there's a creation myth that is talking about how the One shaped the world into existence through that of song, which you might have heard of if you're a Lord of the Rings nerd, because it's kind of that. It's really similar. You have an entire chorus of things creating into existence, and then, oh no, you have a discordant melody, and that person gets outcasted. It's just, instead of that being the first Dark Lord in World of Darkness, that's the Nefandi, which is an insane thing. And also there's a Finnish creation myth that is really similar. It's more than likely the thing Tolkien took inspiration from. The one I prefer actually heralds more to an old Christian concept, where the One is treated as the One. It is creation, which there's an old style of Christianity that we've kind of lost in our day-to-day lives because God as a figure has been personified. A lot of very early Christians didn't view God as this nice, kindly old man in the clouds. They viewed God as creation. Everything has a part of him, and so the idea that, oh man, God doesn't exist, it's just kind of crazy because you look around, that's proof. And I bring this up because I've been reading a book on Gnosticism. It's very good, you should read this. A lot of the early arguments that created this style of Christianity are straight up the exact same arguments modern day people are using for atheism. Like, if God good, why bad things happen is literally a proof of Gnosticism, because they decree, yeah, why would God be jealous and spiteful in the Old Testament? That doesn't make sense. Slight tangent, I know, but that is the interpretation of the one I prefer. I enjoy the idea of World of Darkness having this being that is something. It is out of our realm of comprehension. It's outside. There is something there. Is it fully Christian? Probably not. Are there a lot of elements of Christianity that are built off of something real? 100%. Because I like the idea of World of Darkness having a lot more kernels of truth that are warped by perception. I think it's a more interesting world to examine it that way, which is at least my take. You can have your own. It's World of Darkness. Do what you want. I hit that too because this is an element where I can talk a little bit more about true faith. True faith, for those that don't know, is a concept of World of Darkness. It is one of the few ways a normal mortal human can do something supernatural. It's through the sheer act of faith itself. Again, that doesn't just mean the Christian God. If you are truly, honestly faithful, you can do things that are otherworldly, like turning away the undead, turning away magic itself. You can help negate it. Now, specifically, bring this up because Celestial Chorusers have a theory with evidence, like they're not completely wrong about this, that they notice when people utilize true faith, they're literally channeling something. There is something that is giving it access to that power, which again hits my theory and my preferred method of the idea of the one, where the idea of the divine and divinity is something otherworldly tied with mortals that has the ability of negating the supernatural. Or you can go with one of the other methods. They talk about the one, where they talk about it as an actual being. Specifically, that story of singing the world into creation, the one is treated as very feminine, a feminine creator of some form that is everything. Also, again, it's not all Christian because the creation myth is really nothing like you get in the Bible. They allow polytheists in, they allow a lot of other religious people in, nowadays. Not to say it was all happiness and sunshine and rainbows. It's just that the idea of the one is singular. It's a monotheistic being, so you would think. Because yeah, polytheists are inside of this tradition because they simply believe, well, yeah, there are many gods that I revere and worship, but they're all part of the one. They are all different faces of it. Which yeah, honestly, fair enough, man, sure. It's the reason I haven't gone into the history yet, and I'm still just talking about what the one and what they believe actually is, because this is one of those factions, I believe, in WoD, where the concept of what they are is a little bit more important by the play-by-play history, and largely because the history just really goes in a line of a lot of human stuff. So if you have a basic understanding of the development of humanity, you know most of their lore. The actual Celestial Chorus utilize a few different tools to get their magic, and they're all really just elements of religion and performance, because Celestial Chorus implies song, hence the creation myth idea of it being song. The idea of singing, be it I don't know, hymns, or being Christian rock. So is like reading scripture, so is prayer, so is like good deeds and kind acts, all those methods of devotion. It's ways of expressing your appreciation for the one in the creation that you're inside of. On the other hand, you can do it the other way. You could fast, you could make yourself a martyr, you could flagellate yourself. These are all ways you can also try to separate your physical to become more close to the divine. It's why I describe them as you can go cleric or you can go paladin, because the ways you can actually utilize their magic and utilize their builds isn't just, oh, let me be nice and comforting and play a healer, even though I don't have immediate aptitude in the life sphere. Their sphere is prime, which I'll get to later. Because you can utilize your magic to help and support people, or you could use that power to destroy the evil things that go bump in the night. But I will relatively quickly go on to the history of them. I know, I'm like late in the video, but I'll do it. There are two big things when it comes to the Celestial Chorus that are important. I'm going to speed run this, but they have the idea of many different ages that they've lived in. The first one is, I think, the most important concept to lay down, where it is that creation myth of singing the world into existence. Two things. First one is the idea of the pure ones. The pure ones are a thing mentioned pretty often in traditions. It's the ancient mages that used to exist a long time ago when magic was very open. Pure ones and their direct descendants are a lot of like very big magical historical figures, like Morgan Le Fay, Circe, Lilith is rumored to be one, fucking Merlin, all those mages, and every single tradition says, no, that's ours. He was one of us. But the pure ones are, to make a very basic analogy, the Cain of mages. It's from them that the Avatar became a thing. And when it comes to the Celestial Chorus, they treat the pure one as angels sent here, when eventually they got shattered. It's not fully known how they got shattered, though it seemed to be through a great war, a war with people who became discordant of the music of creation, hence the Nefandi, which implies the Nefandi were around from like literally the very beginning. When the world was created, there were some mages who were like, you know what, fuck this. I hate this. Is this completely true? I view this in the same way I do every other WoD thing. I think there's a nugget of that's probably true, but on the other hand, it's a thing the traditions love to do, in its claim, oh yeah, we were like the main true one that everyone broke off of. So of course you would say the main enemy is actually your enemy from the start. But the idea of religion and the idea of worshiping something and getting your power through faith isn't something crazy new. It isn't something that was super codified, but the first appearance of something that was resembling the Celestial Chorus popped up in Egypt, as the first real push for the ideas of Celestial Chorus came up with Amenhotep IV, who really revered Aten and viewed this as a monotheistic sun god that we should only worship. And this is because in WoD, Amenhotep said he had a vision in the desert after fasting for a long time, where Aten told him his job was to collect people that were similar to him and help guide the sleepers out of their sleep. Which it doesn't expressly say, but it sounds like Amenhotep IV was a wizard. That's fun. But through this was that core idea of the singular being, a monotheistic being that you revere, and it became a more codified group, where more and more it started gathering and picking up steam, especially once Christianity got into the mix. Obviously, the idea of the Abrahamic religions in general all having a very monotheistic religion, that helped a lot, but Christianity was like the main horse that they hitched. Even more when Charlemagne became full Christian. That was like the heyday of the Celestial Chorus. And it was here that it was the most difficult if you had a different faith. There was a group code known as the Cabal of the Pure Thought that had the idea of we need a codified set of beliefs. We can't just be a bunch of different disparate thoughts that are unified. We need to unify under a core dogma. There were a lot of people that really resonated with the ideas but weren't Christian, so they got pushed out. Though this had to change eventually, because the moment the Order of Reason came on the scene, they started getting their ass beat. The Order of Reason jumping on the scene caused more issues, because their entire thing is unifying the world in the consensus of logic, reason, dogma against the belief of the supernatural or anything spiritual. And then you have the Inquisition. Like, the Inquisition that fucked up the vampires. Because this is around the time of, like, the Protestant Reformation, the schism in the church. Christianity was splitting rapidly, and the Inquisition was hampering down on things they viewed as heretical. And it's pretty obvious that the Order of Reason definitely pointed some inquisitors to make problems for the mages. And it kind of just got worse. There was a lot of infighting. There was a lot of people just leaving the Celestial Chorus because it was too much of an issue. And it really came to a head with the Week of Nightmares and the Avatar Storm, which cut off all of the higher-ups and all the elders of their order. For now, our like spiritual leaders, we can't talk to them anymore. They were having such a bad time. It's around here in like 1999. Where they realized, all right, fuck, we might need to open our shit up again. We might need to be more accepting. They already had younger mages who were more down with variants of thought. But now with all of the old guard gone, they're like, well, fuck it. I mean, come on in, gang. Yeah, sure, you're many different faces of the one. Hell yeah, brother, let's do some magic. That's not to say, again, it's not all peachy keen. There are still people who are annoyed. It's a WAD faction. There's degrees of this person's actually nice, this person's a giant jackass. There are bigger fish to fry than their theological debates. They can resume it once the technocracy is dealt with, once the Nefandi is dealt with, and all the many other issues plaguing the world of darkness. Lastly, I will touch on the idea of Prime. Prime is a very important sphere of magic. Prime is essentially the power of quintessence itself. This is a sphere that is treated with a lot of reverence, not just because they're religious, but because it is essentially the thing that magic has to go through. You're using forces, you have to tap into Prime in some regard. Prime is the ability to create something from nothing. The entire world is made up of, in their heads, the divine. In others, quintessence and just this magical energy that is reality. With Prime, you are able to actually shape raw reality itself. As such, it can do things that other magic spheres just can't do, like enchant items, enchant people. If you want to like actually affect something or someone on a deeper level, you need to use Prime. In the same way, if you want to make something out of nothing, you need Prime. On the absolute highest sphere though, the highest dot of Prime, you can actually undo paradox. As again, you control reality, you can shape it, you can just warp reality around you to negate a paradox backlash. But yeah, that's a good overview of the Celestial Chorus. First and foremost, I want to shout out my channel members who make all these videos possible. Super appreciative. And I want to give a huge shout out to my top tier channel members. That being Eric Sheriff, Megas Cadron, Pork Chomp, and Czar Shadow. Thank you all so much. It means a lot. Like, comment, subscribe, join membership. I'll be making more wizard videos more than likely soon. I'm on a wizard kick. It's fun. But see ya.